We used to think of the cloud as a single, organized hard drive in the sky, but the modern digital workspace looks like this. The average professional now juggles 3 to 4 different cloud services. Your company mandates OneDrive, but a major client demands deliverables through their own Dropbox portal, and you still rely on Google Drive for personal use. Then there is the math of free tier stacking. Power users deliberately combine multiple free accounts, pooling a 15 GB Google Drive with a 5 GB iCloud account to build a larger overall storage capacity without paying monthly fees. This chart shows how a typical fragmented user storage is distributed. You have 15 GB sitting in Google Drive next to a 1 TB corporate OneDrive and a 2 GB Dropbox account. But capacity is only half the problem. These platforms operate on completely hidden technical limitations. Google Drive gives you 100 versions over 30 days, while a free Dropbox limits you to a 2 GB maximum file size and a strict 30-day recovery window. If your files are scattered across 4 different logins, it is not a failure of your personal organization. It is an unavoidable structural reality of modern professional work. Running multiple cloud accounts introduces immediate physical hardware consequences when you install their desktop sync clients simultaneously. Background applications for Google Drive, Dropbox, and OneDrive constantly scan your file system. They rapidly drain local hard drive space, consume your CPU processing power, and throttle your internet bandwidth as they fight to upload and download changes. Solving this chaos requires making a binary choice between 2 opposing strategies: behavioral organization or software unification. Behavioral organization means you do the work. It requires strict manual discipline regarding exactly where and how specific files are saved, keeping environments completely separated. Software unification means the computer does the work. You deploy third-party aggregator tools specifically designed to forcibly bridge these incompatible cloud platforms into one interface. Selecting the incorrect strategy for your specific technical skill level carries severe penalties. You will either waste money on unnecessary automation tools or trigger conflicts that cause catastrophic data loss. The definitive behavioral strategy is the hub and spoke method. It organizes disjointed accounts without requiring you to spend a dime on third-party software. This diagram shows the structural hierarchy. You designate one primary cloud drive to act as the center of gravity for internal work, capturing 80% of daily file creation. Secondary accounts exist under strict quarantine, used exclusively for external tasks like sending client deliverables. The primary advantages of this architecture are clear. You maintain zero financial overhead and possess absolute immunity from third-party software vulnerabilities. The trade-off is that this method demands flawless personal discipline. If you misplace a document, you completely sacrifice the ability to search across multiple platforms simultaneously to find it. The hub and spoke method successfully protects your budget, but it transfers the entire burden of data routing directly onto your daily habits. If managing manual file routing sounds exhausting, the mid-tier strategy changes the focus entirely. Manage your access environments rather than attempting to perfectly organize the underlying files. This is achieved through browser isolation. By using dedicated container tools or strict browser profiles, you securely sandbox your web sessions. Isolation allows you to log into conflicting accounts, like a personal Google Drive and a corporate Google Drive, side by side without triggering authentication errors or logging yourself out. This approach operates entirely in the cloud. It renders native desktop applications completely obsolete for account switching. Because no files are actively synced or stored on your physical machine, the strain on your local hardware drops massively. But adopting browser isolation introduces a critical workflow sacrifice. It completely severs you from native operating system controls, eliminating your ability to drag and drop files quickly in Finder or Windows Explorer. The extreme end of software unification involves deploying commercial cloud aggregators or open-source command line automation. This chart maps these tools. The x-axis represents required technical setup effort, and the y-axis tracks resulting automation. Up in the top right, aggregators push both metrics to their maximum limit, executing continuous, invisible cross-platform syncing in the background. However, this introduces the sync conflict reality check. When you activate automated two-way syncing between rival platforms, failures are inevitable. In automated two-way syncing, these competing data inputs inevitably collide and overwrite each other unexpectedly, causing severe chaos. You will encounter same name conflicts, where two identical file names clash. Worse are version conflicts, where a file edited on two different devices simultaneously corrupts the automated backup protocols. To compensate, sync tools duplicate the data to create conflicted copy backup files. This triggers severe storage bloat across your accounts. Achieving maximum cross-platform automation introduces the highest statistical risk of silent data deletion, making rigorous daily monitoring of your files mandatory. To move from theory to application, you must match a specific multi-cloud architecture directly to your core operational bottleneck. This decision tree starts with one foundational question. What is the primary operational bottleneck you are trying to solve? The first profile is the frugal optimizer. Their primary goal is maximizing storage without triggering any monthly subscription fees. If this is your bottleneck, abandon commercial software entirely. Rely strictly on the manual hub-and-spoke behavioral method. Next is the client juggling professional. Their primary bottleneck is constantly logging in and out of disparate external ecosystems. This user should deploy browser isolation tools to manage client access securely without contaminating their local desktop. The final profile is the technical power user, demanding global search capabilities and automated background redundancy across all connected platforms. The power user should bypass commercial graphical interfaces entirely. Utilize open-source command line tools, provided you accept the steep line curve required to build them. Properly identifying your technical threshold and budget prevents the catastrophic error of adopting a workflow you cannot maintain. Managing multiple cloud accounts creates one universal, unavoidable vulnerability, a massively expanded digital attack surface. Using third-party aggregators multiplies the destructive potential of a single compromised password. If the central tool is breached, every connected cloud drive is immediately exposed. Securing this setup requires a non-negotiable security triad: unique password management, universal two-factor authentication, and quarterly third-party app audits. An audit requires logging into each provider and revoking old OAuth permissions, the digital keys that grant apps access to your data, from any abandoned aggregation software. True data sovereignty is not achieved by forcing incompatible files to sync perfectly. It is built by designing intentional, highly secure boundaries between your disparate digital spaces.